Lizard.
Here we go again. We have fucking lizard. Like,
Lizard.
I was about to say
Lizard.
amnesia, but that's not the word I'm looking for. That's absolutely wrong. Hello, welcome back to Fear Babes Podcast. Long time no chat. A lot.
Only like a month. I don't fucking know.
Only like a month. A lot has happened. A lot has occurred. We plan to recap. So yeah.
The first thing though is I want you to see that my hair is waving to you.
Start doing that thing where you're like.
I don't know what it's doing, but
That's so funny.
it's animated. You know what? Because I can't move my eyebrows, my hair's covering it for us.
Factual.
Well, actually, it is coming back a little bit, but end of the month we'll fix it. I'll go frozen again. It's fine. You can't see it because of the ring light, but I do have one line coming back right here. I'm like, oh, I have a face again.
Finally, I'm just kidding.
I know. I was like, dude, it's weird because I think I mentioned it before, but I'm like, you don't realize how much you use this piece of your face for like communication.
It's true. I'm very expressive.
Until you can't. Yeah.
I remember when I was taking like my acting classes, I had to take this really strange movement class. I don't know if it's for every like theater program or what, but the movement class, like I had to do this like interpretive monologue with movement. Just hear me out, okay? And like after I was done, it was like our final, and the professor was like, you would be excellent in TV. You are so expressive with your face. And I'm like, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't really see it's kind of coming back, but I knew it was coming back though because the other day I made a face and then somebody made a face back to me and I was like,
and you're like,
you saw that? You can see me again? I'm like, oh no, this is a problem because now I have to remember. Use your inside face. Like, inside face stays inside. Use your outside face, you know?
Inside, outside. So, would you like to tell the class your life story as of recent?
No. Okay. So.
Buckle up, buttercups.
I've gathered you all here today. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, first we're going to start with the fun pieces of what's happened since the last time we've all discussed, right? We're more like you and I discuss and then people choose to listen. I don't know why, but they do. Just kidding, I love you. So first thing is I peer pressured my parents into getting a puppy. And her is the cutest little baby I've ever seen in my life.
She's
Don't
very
tell
cute.
Annie or Deese that I said that.
As Deese is like knocking on the door and saying, "Let me in, bitch. What the fuck did you say?"
He literally does. I don't know. I'll see if I can show a photo of her on here, but we all know how that always doesn't work. So you can also go to my socials and see her. But her name's Willow, and she's a Border Collie Australian Shepherd mix.
She's cute. Very
with
cute.
my little baby weirdo. And I am her favorite person outside of my parents.
Oh,
Baby Willow.
Baby Woof Woof. It's so sweet.
And the best thing about her is her facial markings makes it like look like her face is crooked, but it's not.
Yeah.
And it's so cute. She's currently a menace, but anyways, it's neither here nor there. She's entering the Velociraptor stage of growing up.
No, literally.
Just Thursday night, in one night, she figured out how to jump on furniture and use the dog door in the same night. So,
wow.
I know,
big girl stuff.
Huge milestones for that baby. What's really funny is like this last weekend, I was puppy sitting because my parents went camping, so I stayed over there with Annie and Deese all weekend, and all weekend like. So Willow is obsessed with Annie and Diesel. Annie could care less. But to her credit, she's being very good with her. I honestly thought that Annie had no tolerance for puppies at all because my brother's dogs, when they were puppies, she's mean. Not like overly mean, but like if they come within like 5 feet of her, she's like, like I'm like, bro, no. She like Willow straight up just like crawls over Annie and she just lays there and she's like whatever. And so she's very tolerable of Willow, but she doesn't like certain aspects right still, so it's fine. But Willow loves to be near Annie. Like, I couldn't find her one time and I went in the laundry room because Annie's like old, so she gets hot, and so she lays in there on the like cold floor. And I was like, Willow, where are you? She's over there napping like 2 feet from Annie. I was like, cute.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, and then she likes to herd Diesel and like straight up ankle bites him. So he like, and the poor guy, he gets like anxious because he doesn't know what to do because he doesn't want to hurt her, but he also doesn't know if it's okay to correct her. So then he's like, help me, and he gets all like, and so like the more antsy he gets, the more she herds him because that's in her nature. And so yeah, and then it's a whole fucking thing because he's 65 pounds, pure lab, jumping up on your lap to try to get away from a puppy that's the size of his head. So it's quite eventful, but he's corrected her a few times. And she's funny in the sense that like she whines more so because she's scared, not because she's hurt. And so it was like 3 days into watching her, and she like Diesel finally decided, okay, I'll play with you back, because she'd been trying to get him to play with her. And so, but how Diesel plays is he'll take a toy and he'll like shove it in the other dog's face, and he wants them to bite it so that he can play keep away. So when they go to bite it, he runs. He like moves his head and runs away with the toy.
That's so cute.
And so, because he did that with Apollo, and then he also kind of does it with Odin. He's less tolerant of Odin than he was Apollo, but so he was trying to do that with Willow, so he kept like shoving it in her face. Like they have this pink elephant and he kept shoving it in her face and she'd bite it and he'd pull it away. And so she got up to like chase him. Well, he's like, I'm gonna chase you back, but then she gets scared. So she goes like behind the, like, I have a video. Did I send you this one? The video of her like popping her head out from behind Mom's chair.
Yeah.
And Dee's is like trying to like, where are you gonna come out at?
It's so sweet.
And then she like comes out and he's like, but like in a play way, you know? And she was like, don't hurt me.
Got stiff.
Please don't murder me. He's like, no, I'm trying to play with you. And she's like, don't kill me, please. So, poor little baby.
I loves hers.
Okay, so now the not so fun stuff. Are we ready? So, big reason why we've been MIA for a month is because Berg got sick. And Berg's still sick. For those of you not watching the YouTube video, I'm giving you a thumbs up right now. Obviously could be worse, right? So, could be way worse. So grateful it's not worse. However, we don't know what's wrong with me. Today marks 3 whole weeks of just continuously being ill. And so we're still trying to figure it out. Yeah. So shout out to anybody who's reached out to me. Really super appreciate it because I've had a few of you do that. And like I said, it could be way worse. I could have like a horrible disease or something, which I don't. At least we don't think right now anyways, but I just prefer not to be ill.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I said, nobody knows why or what's causing my ailments currently. But we are going to start looking into my appendix next. If it doesn't go away. Because, fun fact, you can have chronic appendicitis. Which I wasn't aware that that's a thing until recent events happened to me. So
I've heard of it, but like, I don't know. It just freaks me out.
Yeah, so that's the next step because CTs came back totally fine. Like, there's not a single thing on the CT. However, they didn't go into any details. Like, the response on the CT was like every organ that they looked at, unremarkable. That's all it says. Yeah, and so like usually they like tell you the size of your organs and stuff like that. And so she's like, just because it looks fine doesn't mean it's not like larger than it's never been before and stuff like that. So
That's weird.
And then my blood work has been popping randomly interesting, not normal numbers. 1 week was some things, and then 2 weeks later it was all those numbers were normal, but now other things are not. So yeah,
It's just very strange altogether. Like,
yeah. And then got a head cold on top of it. Woo!
yeehaw.
I'm just thriving over here. Yay!
Yeah. Woo.
But yeah, we're just getting through it, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just over it, to be honest with you. I just really want to go back to having a normal life. Because I can't even, like just going to work and sitting at a desk for 85% of the day fucking kills me, dude.
I can't even, like, imagine. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I go to work sort of fine, and then I leave with, like, a fever, like, every day.
Yeah, that's what scares me, because, like, a fever obviously means an infection is somewhere, so that's what's concerning, like, the most.
Yeah.
But the good thing is like, you're able to function, so, like, that's where the whole it could be worse comes in, but it's still bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's not a splendid time, I'll tell you that much.
yeah.
Yeah, just, like, I can barely, like, I'm just doing the bare minimum in life right now.
Yeah.
Surviving. Not thriving.
Literally.
But we'll get there. We'll figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say that, like, it is kind of frustrating being that, like, healthcare in general, I'm going to make this a very short soapbox because we could make the whole podcast about this if we really wanted to. Healthcare in general is very fucking annoying to me because, especially ever since COVID. So mind you all, I used to work in healthcare. I worked at the hospital for a while, and then I worked in the urology clinic for 3 years, and I obviously was admin side of things, but you just because you're not qualified doesn't mean there aren't certain things you pick up on and or learn as you're doing it. You're just not qualified to give anybody any medical advice, right? So you don't do that, obviously. Ever since COVID, it's all gone downhill, honestly. Like, if you don't have COVID, nobody really cares to help you in any way, shape, or form, at least in my experience, in this general area where I currently live. So that's frustrating because I went to 3 different providers before somebody would help me, and I basically was met with, well, you're not presenting as emergent, and maybe it's just viral. You just ride it out. And I'm like, well, 2 weeks into this, yeah, somebody figure it the fuck out. Like, this is not normal. Like, I would not just why would anybody go in? I know people do this because they're on drugs and shit like that. But why would anybody go into, like, mental facilities? My gosh, healthcare facilities, that too.
Yeah,
and be like, I have abdominal pain. Like, why would people make that up?
Yeah,
like,
nobody's gonna make that up.
My abdomen was actually numb. Like, I could not feel the skin on my stomach for a couple of days. Who's gonna make that up? And why is nobody thinking that that's, like, not weird? Like,
that's alarming.
That's a weird symptom to have. And then, like, everybody's just like, well, see what happens. What if it was my appendix? Like,
yeah.
What?
Malpractice, lawsuit. Just kidding. Maybe.
I mean, that, and then it's like, I know my body. You don't know my body. You don't live in my body. I know because people like to be like my temperature will get to 99, and for me personally, that is a fever. But no doctor wants to consider that a fever because that is not textbook fever. I'm like, I normally run at, like, 96.
Yeah.
Like, my normal temperature is 96. I only get to 99 when I'm actually ill. Like, I had swine flu, I was 99. When my gallbladder was acting a fool, I was 99. And when I got COVID, for real, I was 99. Those are, like, the only times in my recent life that I have been 99 degrees.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that something is wrong with my body.
And all of that is, like, medical history. Like, there are records of that. Like, they take your temperature every time you go into a doctor's office.
Well, that and your
Like,
blood pressure.
yeah, that too, as well.
Because I'm on a beta blocker, which is a heart medication,
Mhm.
which is to help keep my blood pressure in check and my heart rate in check, because I have like a mild intermittent tachycardia problem, probably because of my migraines. My blood pressure should never be abnormal with these medications. And it was the first time I went into quick care, it was like pretty shockingly abnormal for me personally. But because it was at a quick care facility, they're like, meh. And it's like, I'm not gonna go to the ER and spend $7,000 to get the same fucking answers. Like,
And you would have.
yeah. So, I know something's wrong with my body.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, that's the thing.
someone
like,
listen to me.
like, I can speak from just like personal experiences, like especially when I was a kid. Like just briefly, like I had awful, terrible, serious stomach issues, and nobody took me seriously. They were just like, well, her parents just split up. It's just anxiety. Like my doctor, I was in there like frequently, and my doctor would just be like, my pediatrician, of course. She was like, I mean, I think it's just anxiety and you just need to get over it. And I was like, you have known me since I was like, like I popped out of my mom's vajayjay. Like, what do you mean I should just get over it? You know that this is abnormal for me. And
Yeah.
they just, it literally is like that. They just don't care. I had like a skin condition that I still have to this day that has now been properly diagnosed because I got a doctor that was smart and intelligent enough to be like, this is what this is. But my whole life, like I went to a dermatologist, and even the dermatologist was like, this is just acne.
I had that experience too. Not acne, but like, I was told like we tried a couple of different steroids and shit, and nothing worked. And then I was just told, well, you scratch too much.
Yeah.
And like Dawn, like my dad, he like, dude, he flipped out. So like, it took like 6 years later, and I was just talking to my primary one day, and she was like, there's a new dermatologist in town who like, he just got out of school, and like there's been a lot of advancements in dermatology, so I suggest you go see him. And he was like, let's try light therapy. Guess what fucking worked?
Light therapy. Yeah, actually, like people like to touch on that like super briefly as well, is that like light therapy actually helps a lot. It even helps for the skin condition I have because newsflash guys, sometimes I lay in the tanning bed. I haven't in 2 years, but when I did, my skin condition was in the best possible form that it could be. It was like healthier, and they tell you all these things like yes, I understand like skin cancer is a threat and I get it, but like also like if it's helping my skin, it even helped my facial acne, which is entirely separate from the skin condition. And I was like,
It's UV therapy,
really?
yeah.
Like this, I don't know, like I felt the most self-confident I've ever been, like all that kind of stuff, because it's like, wow, I'm not in pain. Like, this is great. You know what I'm saying? And it took like me figuring that out. That wasn't recommended. That wasn't suggested. So.
Yeah. Well, I go into the tanning bed sometimes specifically just for my skin condition. Because, like, when I did the light therapy, that was like 5 years ago. And I only did it for like a year and a half. I haven't done it since. And so, yeah, my rash came back. It's on my legs, between my knees and my ankles. Like, it's never fully gone away.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so I'll go in the tanning bed at the gym sometimes just for that. And then it's like, because that's what they did is like at the dermatologist's offices, they have like a super concentrated UV. It's like a tanning bed, but it's super concentrated. Like you can actually only stand in there for like 30 seconds at a time. But yeah, so basically,
yeah,
you're just self therapeutically taking care of it, I guess.
Literally.
At that point.
Literally. And that's just like the reality of like healthcare these days. And I'm not saying that there aren't doctors that care, because I've also had some pretty awesome doctors and like healthcare providers. Um, and trust me, I saw a lot of them and have seen. Um, but you know, like with just how things are going, like with your situation right now, it's just so frustrating because it's like, I understand. I've been there. It's just such an eye roll,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
it's devastating. It's like, I just hate it.
Yeah, because it's like, what do you do? Just wait until it is an emergency?
Yeah. Yeah.
How is that conducive to anybody?
It's not.
Like, and it's like at some point you have to realize like quality of life is being like impacted, you know?
That's the like big thing because like, I don't know, like, not to get into it, but like, you know, they talk about how like suicide rates are going up in this country and stuff, and it's like because no one listens. No one fucking listens. Like, your healthcare providers don't listen. Half the time you'll go to your healthcare provider and you'll be like, "Hey, like my life sucks. Like I'm in pain. You guys aren't helping me. I would really like to talk to a therapist because it's getting me down mentally." And they're like, "Okay, well, here's a list of therapists and stuff like that. Sorry, your insurance probably doesn't cover it. And we also don't do referrals. So we're just going to let you figure it out yourself."
And then you go try, and then they don't take you without a referral.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So it's like it's just like a constant cycle of what the fuck.
What the fuck? Yeah.
Like, cool.
It's so fucking infuriating.
Can't even take care of yourself properly because even when you try, it's just nobody cares.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is it's like pre-COVID, you'd go to a quick care with like the condition I was in, and they'd be like, "You need an antibiotic. Here you go."
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does that anymore.
No.
Not saying that I want to show up and just be like, "Here, give me drugs," but like they won't even like. People usually are just like, "Try Tylenol," and I'm like, Tylenol doesn't work for me. I can't, like, my body metabolizes it so much. Like, when I was growing up and I had migraine issues before I got help for that, I basically abused Tylenol, and it does not work for my body at all.
I've never really used Tylenol like that.
Good. Because you don't want to end up where you should probably need it and you can't. So,
Yeah, it's true.
but that's the other thing too, is it's just like on the flip side of that, you go to places and they're just like, "Here, try all of these drugs." Like, for mental issues, like, it's like, no, you should probably adjust your diet as well. Like, yeah, you might need drugs to begin with, but like, here's another minor soapbox that we're not going to talk too long on. The food industry is poisoning you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that mental health issues are not real, but they are exacerbated by the food that you put into your body.
100%.
And so part of keeping your anxiety under control, keeping your bipolar disorder under control, keeping your ADHD under control is, in fact, the food and drinks that you are absorbing into your body.
Yeah, it unfortunately is like a high contributor. Because I can tell you right now, like, if I'm eating healthier, I probably do feel better mentally. And, you know, if I'm not eating healthier, well, guess what? Like, I can take all the drugs I want, but, you know.
Do you know what I had to start doing? And I'm just talking my own experience at this point. I'm not saying anybody should do this. I'm not a health professional. Do not take this as something you need to do or should do or whatever. I had a problem with, like, emotional eating, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, stress eating. And most people know I have a lot of food allergies, right? But some of them are worse than others. And so, like, dairy, I basically couldn't eat dairy after I had my gallbladder removed. And then, fun fact, the longer you go without something in your body, the more your body's used to not having it, the more problems it creates when you do re-ingest it. I would occasionally still have, like, ice cream or something, right? And then, not long after, I would, actions have consequences. So, I would have to reap the consequences of my actions. And so I had to start telling myself, I'm like, people don't think about it this way. And maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. But eating things that your body does not agree with is also a form of self-harm.
100%.
You are still self-harming by ingesting things that you know full well you shouldn't be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Easily.
I'm just saying. So
It's like if it
that's why I had
doesn't,
to start telling myself to get over shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
100%, if it doesn't agree with you, don't punish yourself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But do you want to tell us about your fun experience you've had in the last 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Since we last saw you before we have
Yeah.
to move into our topic.
Yeah, I did want to say, because like since it devastated me so much, I wanted to say it at least once. But so I have talked about this multiple times on the podcast, but we adopted like baby ducklings, like last year, and we had a male and a female. It just happened that way. And right before our trip, the Sunday before we left for our trip on Tuesday, my mom told me that our female duck passed away, and we don't know why. We think that she was sick for a little while. She was just always a little bit slower than the male. And it's sad because, like, it's your animal, right? Like, it's not like you, I don't know, like, it's just sad. So, like, that happened. But I was like literally so sad for like like I'm sad now, but it was like really really sad when we found her, cuz she was like sitting on her nest, and I was, oh my god, it's just so devastating. But aside from that, rest in peace Ducky. I went to Alaska.
Woo!
That I'm actually wearing my Ketchikan Alaska sweatshirt today. That was hands down, next to Wyoming, one of the greatest experiences of my life. I flew with my family and friends. Actually, we all flew on the same flight to Seattle.
Y'all took up like a third of that flight.
Literally. And I had alcohol. Like, we all had drinks on the way there. Like, it was like a party. And stunning views. Literally flew from North Carolina to Washington State. So that is like from one side of the country to the other. And we saw the Rockies. We saw Mount St. Helens from the plane, Mount Rainier. And wow, I mean, like, just so big and beautiful. Like, we were just in awe. We couldn't stop staring. And we had just like the best experiences in Seattle. We went to the Starbucks Reserve, which was absolutely amazing. I've never been to a Starbucks Reserve before, but Seattle is the place where the first Starbucks happened, right? And so the reserve, I guess, was, like I said, I've never been to one, but this one was really cool. It, obviously, like, if you've never been to a reserve, a Starbucks Reserve, it's an entirely different menu. So, like, I got an affogato, which is ice cream with espresso on top. And I got this croissant that was pistachio and rose flavored. It had, like, rose flavored icing. And I was like, yo, this is, like, amazing. Like, I've never experienced this before. They showed you how, like, they make the coffee beans, and seriously, coolest experience ever. We went to the market there, saw the gum wall, disgusting, by the way. Went to the Space Needle, super cool.
Jealous.
And then the cruise itself was amazing. Like, obviously, I've only ever been on one other cruise, but this one trumps that one by like a million gazillion. Just like the entire experience was, from the second we boarded that cruise, like, it was the easiest boarding. It was the easiest just like getting settled in, like doing everything that you need to do when you go on a cruise. Oh my God, so seamless, so easy. And the food was amazing on the cruise. Um, the views were incredible from like the second we got on that cruise. Washington State is beautiful. Um, but Alaska is even more so. Saw so many glaciers, saw so many whales. Whales of all things, right? Like when you're out there, like we saw orcas like the second day. Like our first real full day on the ship, we saw fucking orcas right next to the ship. Like we heard them come up and blow. I was like, there is no way. There is no
I'm
way.
so jealous, dude.
There's
I love orcas.
Oh my God, there's no way. Like it was incredible. And that was the only time we saw them. The rest of the time we saw sorry, I'm a little sickly. What's
Twins!
up? That's part of the reason why we canceled last week, because I came home sick, but alas. But I would say, like, hands down, that is the most amazing part of Alaska is the wildlife, especially the whales. You will see whales no matter what. It's like almost, I think it's pretty much guaranteed, but at the time of year we went, which was the end of August, that's when we heard that it was going to be the best. We also saw the Northern Lights. The water in Alaska is literally aquamarine. It's so weird. Like more turquoise, I guess, but like not in like a Caribbean turquoise, but like a different kind. It's because of the minerals there.
Or like green and blue type of.
Yeah, but like you can't see through it. Like, you know how like in the Bahamas and stuff, like you can see through that water, but it's like very violently like Gatorade water. It's different in Alaska, but it's still beautiful. We went to Skagway, which we had an excursion. We rode a train through the mountains. Absolutely like stunning. Oh my God, it was beautiful. Then we went to Juneau, which is where we went whale watching, and we went to the glacier, and then we went to Ketchikan. Ketchikan is super interesting. Like it had, I felt like a little more history to it. Super cool as well. I would say Skagway is probably my favorite. You can only access it by boat or plane, which is really interesting. More than likely a helicopter. And it just, the entire thing, like, I don't even know where to, like, I don't know. Like, there were seals. We saw seals, like, quite a few of them. I think we saw, like, 4 seals. Bald eagles. Sea lions. Those motherfuckers are hilarious. They literally sound like they're burping. Oh my God. They're like, it's so funny. I should play it. Should I play it?
Do it.
I'm gonna
switch positions.
I'm gonna play the one that Janice sent me because you can hear them more. They're so funny. Oh my God. Oh, and we also went to Canada.
Canada.
But it was literally like the shortest trip ever. But it was so cool for me personally, which some people might be like overrated, but like I've never been to another country in my life. I don't consider the Bahamas another country necessarily, because they are, but they aren't. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't need a passport to go to the Bahamas. But I mean, Canada's Canada, and like you're very obviously somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like when I went there, it was super crazy. But a very cool experience. I'm trying to find it. Oh, listen. They were all sitting.
There's like random bells in the background.
They were sitting on like this, it was like a buoy with like the bell on it or whatever. I don't know exactly what it's called, but there was a bunch of them and they kept ringing the bell and it was like making them mad. They didn't want each other to ring the bell. So in one part, you can hear them like fighting and stuff.
They're like, "Bleh."
Oh my God.
Hold on. Hold on. I gotta think about this, but you can go.
Yeah,
That's
literally.
kind of what they sound like.
That's exactly what they sound like. It was so funny. But, yeah, the well washing. Wow. I mean, like, holy fuck, dude. Like,
Jelly.
being out there and like hearing them go like, and like seeing it and like watching them like dive and like you could see their tail. I mean, coolest fucking experience ever. And like the glaciers were cool obviously, but like what the actual fuck. I mean, honestly, 10 out of 10 experience. um Everything about it I think will be carried with me for like a lifetime. But now I'm just kind of like, okay, what's next? Because everywhere else I'm going this year, it's the same places I've been a million times. So like,
Now we go to Hawaii in December and watch those same whales, but in Hawaii.
yeah. They do go to Hawaii. They're filling up in Alaska right now, and then they're gonna be heading to Hawaii in the next like couple weeks. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's just I've never been to Hawaii, but
Well, let's go. I went when I was like 16, so I'm overdue.
really,
Yeah.
you've traveled quite a bit. You've been to Hawaii, you've been to Jamaica. Where else?
The Bahamas. And then everything else has been this like in the like lower 48. Like Corpus Christi, Texas. I've been to LA a few times. Well, I did go on a cruise in high school when I was in band. We actually like went for like a band thing. Like we had to play on the ship. Like we were one of the events of one of the nights. And then we just got to spend the rest of the time cruising. But we went to St. Thomas and St. Martin's on that as well. Where else? I went to Florida last year. Montana.
Have you ever been to Canada?
No.
I had thought that you had went to Canada, but
We were supposed to
for
this year for a wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the destination got changed, which is fine. But I do want to go to Canada because it's like just the photos I've seen anyways, just different type of beauty.
I definitely want to go to Canada, but like to specific places. Like I told my mom, I was like, you know what could be like a easy little trip is like going to Niagara Falls and going to Toronto. My friend Riley has done that, which she is actually on her way back at this moment in time. It's Saturday night. She's flying back from Tokyo. She was in Japan.
Damn.
Yeah. She's been in Japan. She's been to like Germany. Japan, Germany, Italy. I'm missing something there. She's been to Paris, the UK. I'm like, girl.
I want to go to Germany.
Me too.
I told mom, like next year I turn 30 and she turns 50 and we were going to do this whole trip thingy. Originally we were going to do a huge like Gatsby party and then we're like maybe we should just go on a trip instead, and now some other things are coming up that have changed those plans. But
31 and 51.
yeah. But she was like, do you want to do like something like, this is kind of weird of me to say out loud, so don't judge me, but she was like, do you want to do something like kind of historical or something like that? And I was like, I've always wanted to go to Germany and like visit like Auschwitz and like kind of like Holocaust type of history and stuff like that. I don't know why, but I've always been intrigued by that.
Yeah, I'm thinking because I'm oh my God, 2.5 years from turning 30. So my absolute dream, which we made Alaska happen, so I think I can make this happen. I really want to go to the UK, and like, that includes Scotland, and do the history thing, because I mean, if you guys know me, medieval history, specifically English medieval history and Scottish as well, is so fascinating to me. It has been a huge part of my life. I spent a lot of my free time dedicated to learning about these historical royal figures and people who were not royal, that, you know, the lives that they lived, how they lived. Very fascinating to me. How they spoke, all of that. I would love to just touch that land, to just see even a sliver of what they saw. I mean, that would just be so powerful to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be my dream. So, manifesting that. A couple of things have to fall into place before that happens, but yeah. Definitely.
Get 10.
Yeah, 2.5 years. But speaking of time,
Yeah, we better fucking get to it, huh?
yeah, I mean,
Ugh.
you know, we're not as crunched to get it done all in an hour. It's just the reason for that before was the technical issues of it all, but now I have a different computer, so we got it figured out. So yeah, is there any other things that you would like to say, to add? Anything?
No, not really. I think some of it can be saved for next week, so it's like...
Sounds good to me. Sorry for the long, like, chat, but, you know, we missed you guys. I hope you enjoyed catching up with us.
I was like, we haven't been here for like a month.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So we're getting into one of my favorite topics. And it's actually not one that's going to be like this whole long drawn out topics in history. 'Cause you guys, we're returning to history's mysteries. We've got this week and then what we're going to do next week. And then I believe we're finishing it up. Next week is going to be our big one, you know? So this one, Bugany, actually, do you want to mention it? Because, like, I could, but I feel like it would mean more coming from you.
okay, but before,
Oh,
the reason Mads was like, this one isn't going to be a long drawn out topic is because, like, basically you look it up, you get the same info everywhere.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's like, it's pretty cut and dry, honestly.
Yeah.
But we're going to discuss the Lost Colony today, the Lost Colony of Roanoke. So,
If you guys don't,
yay!
y'all-
Round of applause!
yay! If y'all don't know,
This is like, isn't this clocking the T?
yeah,
I have to hold my microphone, so round of
me
applause.
me too. I'm holding mine, but it's like,
Yeah.
so yeah, the Lost Colony of Roanoke. Some of you guys may not even know what the Lost Colony is, and especially if you're not American, let alone if you're not from North Carolina, apparently, because when I asked Berg about it, I was like, "Did you ever learn about this in school?" She said no.
I was like, I've heard of it, but I don't remember. It's not a topic.
It
that,
wasn't
like,
emphasized.
Yeah, it doesn't stick out in my brain.
Yeah, like I remember Roanoke is in North Carolina. It was this colony when it came over in 1582. 87. Okay, I was right then. I was doubting myself. See that doubting.
I have it written down, so.
So yeah, in
Otherwise, I wouldn't
1587,
know.
England decided, hey, let's send a colony of people over and see if they survive. It was the very first, should I say, England's very first attempt at settling a colony. Of course, we know that the Spanish had already settled colonies in Florida specifically. We kind of touched on that a little bit a couple months ago, I believe, where it was just like, yo, that's kind of crazy. You know, the Spanish came here. You know, you always hear about the conquerors.
St. Augustine,
St.
actually.
Augustine. I
went there almost a year
yeah.
ago now. I went to the Spanish fort. It's actually pretty cool.
I was
But
blanking there for a second, but you always hear about Columbus sailing the ocean blue in 1492, and he wasn't even in America. It was actually the Caribbean, but that's not here nor there. So England comes over and they decide to sail with a couple hundred colonists. 117 actually.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Mets, too, actually. Your 1582 number might not be, like, entirely wrong because I think that Queen Elizabeth actually told Sir Raleigh he could do this, but there was actually one colony that went before this specific one,
Mm-hmm.
and then it didn't work out. So,
Yeah.
and it takes quite some time for them to go back and forth. So, in 5 year time frame, oh my gosh, what is happening? In a 5 year time frame, he probably got the okay because she gave him 7 years, and then it just took that long for this one to actually get there.
Yeah,
So.
100%. Because it didn't take 7 years to sail the ocean. It actually took a couple months.
No. Yeah, but
Just to clarify that.
in all of that though.
But yeah, 1582 is somewhere, and
In the history of it all.
I don't. 1582 is the first time that it's at least mentioned in English, perhaps the like in their talks of settling a colony. So yeah, there's this man, okay, Sir Walter Raleigh. Coincidentally enough, Mr. Raleigh, our state capital, is named after him. Super interesting guy, you know. There was a couple settlers like John White. He had a pregnant daughter. Her name was Eleanor Dare. Um, there was a couple of people that if you are any sort of historian, some of these names may ring a bell in some way. So 1587, July of 1587 specifically, they hit North Carolina, specifically our very tip in the Outer Banks. And they settled down and they repaired an old fort that was previously erected on the island. That may be where the 1582 comes from. Burgundy?
That fort was because of the colony that went before them that didn't survive. I can't remember all of the details, but basically the colony that went first was actually just made of a bunch of military men. And it was led by like a military sergeant of some kind. And so when they got there, none of them knew how to like farm and live off the land and all of that stuff. So it was actually a military type of base, if you will, to begin with. And then they like that one went out with like 100 people, I think, and then only a few of them came back because there was like infighting, and then they actually kind of got in bad taste with the Native Americans, and that they caused some issues, and it was like a whole thing. So I think that's when your 1582 number sticks out in your head. I think that's somewhere along the lines of when, like you said, this all began originally.
Yeah.
And so, but the real colony that actually went and colonized was the second round technically, and they had decided to use just regular people that were going to go farm off the land and make houses and actually colonize.
Yeah, like these were men, women, and children. It was like you're genuinely regular, degular people. That, you know, they're coming off this ship after months, right? And they're already more than likely, as it was back then, ill in some way. England had a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of diseases, a lot of sickness. So they're bringing this into this new land. And they're, having to settle and build from the ground up, essentially, right? So it all sounds great in theory when they were in England and they had food accessible in their homes over their heads, and things were simpler. But now they're off this ship and really they're on their own, entirely on their own. The Spanish are not their friends because the Spanish, they just had a whole battle, a whole war, the English and the Spanish, and even if they were friends, they're very far from them. So the things aren't really that great. They're great. They're happy to see land, obviously, because I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if you've ever seen a boat, like a 1500s boat. Those motherfuckers are tiny and a lot smaller than you think. and 117 people, 117 souls that made it and touched ground in the Outer Banks. Um, they they were just all shoved into that little tiny ship. So they're happy to see ground, but they've got a long way to go.
Did you know that the reason part of why they settled on North Carolina, if you will, it wasn't called North Carolina
No.
yet, but was because part of it was to be far from Florida so that they couldn't be interfered with by the Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, like, literally, when I tell you guys they are, like, hot and fresh off war, like, we're talking barely. We're talking it may even still be going on. I can't remember.
It
It was
was.
still going on?
Yeah, because that's actually why, this jumping ahead in the story a little bit,
Mhm.
but that's actually why John White was gone for 3 years, is because of the war. It was what kept him in England. He wasn't able to get back because the war was mostly naval.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's right. That is why he went back. Okay, see, I'm going to admit to you. I didn't do that much research because I know it so well. I should have touched up on that. That is why. That is why he was kept for 3 years. But we'll get there, right? So
Yeah,
it's actually
yeah.
not far. We're probably talking in like 30 seconds. But
Literally, yeah.
famously, you know that chick that we were talking about, John White's daughter, Eleanor Dare, she gave birth to a daughter that she named Virginia. And she was the very first English child born on American soil. And that was only a month-ish after they landed in the colony. So, you know, that whole thing that I was saying about, like, they were probably, you know, like, off, you know, land is awesome, you know, it's great. But this woman, Eleanor Dare, she, bringing a child, like a newborn baby, into this world when there are no resources around you at all, it's kind of scary. So, of course, with the new,
Could you imagine also like traveling across sea
uh-uh.
that pregnant?
No, let me tell you guys, I get seasick, and I actually was heavily medicated on my cruise. And let me just tell you, it changed everything. I will never fear a cruise again. But back then, they were not as lucky. And I can tell you right now, being months on a ship, never being able to touch land, I would have died. Probably of just pure exhaustion, you know?
Yeah.
Like that within itself. Dude, be rocking hard. I mean, absolutely
You're
rocking.
crossing the Atlantic too?
Yeah, the Atlantic
No,
is a
thank you.
scary place.
No, thanks.
No. And of course, you know, like all they had on these ships, it was the wind and the sails. Like, that is it. That is how they traveled across the ocean. And so, after our dear Eleanor gave birth to the sweet little Virginia, 10 days later, John White, Eleanor's father, departs for England, and he promises to return with more supplies. So he was not there for very long. And let's just say when he said goodbye, it was the last time. As Burgundy said, he got caught up in the middle of, you know, all the naval warring going on with the Spanish.
So, Queen Elizabeth, she had ordered all of the ships available at that time to participate in the war because the Spanish were heavily like naval sturdy. So basically, John had to wait for, because he wasn't the captain, he had to wait for a captain and crew to be available to take him back to Roanoke.
Yeah. And you know, that sucks, but that was kind of the reality back then. A lot of things kind of happened that way. You would not see your family for years, and it was completely normal. You would be married off to this random guy that you've never heard of or seen before, and you would never see your family again. This is the type of shit that would just happen, right? So him being gone for 3 years, really, it was not uncommon. It sucked, for sure. But what sucked even more, aside from not seeing your family for 3 years or your friends or people that you literally bonded with, essentially trauma bonded with on a ship for 3 months, and, tried to build up a colony, you get back there and they're all gone. He lands,
Poof.
John White
Finished.
lands back in Roanoke Island and he finds absolutely nobody. Nobody. Not a soul. It is deserted, plundered, like completely destroyed, and has a lot of overgrown brush around it, which means that it had been a while since any human inhabited that spot. And lo and behold, as he's looking around confused, he finds a single word carved into a tree, and it says Croatoan. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. So Croatoan can mean anything, right? So you would think. I wouldn't say it means
Except.
anything, because nearby there was, a Croatoan
Tribe.
tribe, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And I
On Croatoan
on
Island.
Croatoan Island, and I don't think that it was ever necessarily stated whether or not they had any, like, if John White recalled any interaction with the Croatoans. I don't know if that's ever recorded in history, but it is a very, very high possibility that they would have had some sort of interaction with the Croatoans after landing on land. Because I don't know if you know this, or like, even in, like, let's just say Disney's Pocahontas, if you've ever watched it, the natives were very aware of everything. They were very aware of the land, and they were excellent observers. So if somebody was on their land, they knew. And so I just don't foresee that they would have never had any interaction at all.
Well, I actually read that um Sir Raleigh anyways had to be aware of them
Mm-hmm.
because the first expedition that they did when they went out and found Roanoke Island to or the area actually to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
they came back with two Native American um people. So one of them was from the Croatoan tribe.
And
And then the other was from Secatan, maybe,
mm-hmm.
if that's how you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if John White was, but Sir Raleigh had to be aware at least.
Had to have, like, that's the first thing. But as far as, like, White's, like, involvement in it all, the reason why I bring that up is because in his mind, if he never had, let's just hypothetically say that he never had any interaction with the Croatoans at all, because he was only there for, like, roughly a month,
Yeah.
which really isn't that long. So let's just hypothetically say that he never saw them. Coming back after 3 years and finding absolutely nothing and seeing the word Croatoan, he may have possibly thought, oh, well, maybe I've heard that. Maybe Sir Walter Raleigh might have mentioned that. But, like, as far as he was concerned, like, they're gone. Like, everybody's
Mm-hmm.
gone. His daughter's gone. His granddaughter's gone. And before he's even able to, like, make any sort of effort, like, a huge hurricane comes and hits the island. And it damaged his ship, so he had to return back to England.
Mm-hmm.
Which is super, super insane as far as it goes. Like, he couldn't even investigate at all. He had to literally find it and leave. Therefore,
Which then begs the question, why didn't he ever go back?
you know,
But
if I were to guess, the same reason why it took him 3 years to get back, and funding.
no, it was reported actually that he died like literally months after
Are you
he got
serious?
back to England. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that. That's crazy.
Yep. So he never got his answer.
I don't think,
what happened to
but
him.
you know what? Even if he hadn't passed away, I don't think he would have gotten his answer anyway, because the chances of them letting him go all the way back out there a third time with a crew, with resources, all that kind of stuff, slim to none. I mean, like I said, the war is a huge thing. That cost a lot of money.
I think the war was, well, and I think it was still happening too.
Yeah,
even then.
I'm pretty sure.
If I remember what I read properly.
This is the part of history, like my English history, where it just like, as far as like Henry VIII goes, after him, it's I don't have much interest in the history, so that's why I'm kind of like, the fuck, what, you know what I'm saying? I just briefly know some things, but it probably was. It may have even gone on until right before Elizabeth's death, but don't quote me on that. Actually, for fact checking purposes, let's see. When?
What is this one? Other one called?
I can't see how I look, but I'm sure it looks goofy.
I was writing something down real quick in case we bring it up. So
1604. When? Let's see. 1603. Yeah. So it actually lasted until after her death, only by like roughly a year.
Dang, dude.
So
yeah, that definitely was still happening when he got back to England.
Definitely was still happening. So funnily enough, that sucks. He literally, I genuinely think that Elizabeth would have been like, I don't care about this at all. Why are you bothering me about going back? Because I've got a whole war going on outside my door right now. I don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, she would have just been like, dude, you should have figured your shit out. Like, I don't know. You should have went further south or further north and started a new settlement or something. I don't know. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she probably literally would have been like, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's funny. Yeah. So what happened to the Lost Colony? It's been a centuries long mystery.
Theories.
I was about to say, tell us your theories.
Okay, well, the first one and the one that is most likely what actually happened was that they went to Croatoan Island and assimilated with the tribe there. That is probably 100% what happened.
100, like, I think, like, I'm not gonna tell anybody like what to believe. We never will do that, but like, hands down, makes the most sense. You know, like, you are entirely on your own. Like I said, remember all that difficult shit that happened? Yeah. So they're still on their own. John White literally went back to get more supplies because apparently they didn't have enough to begin with. All right, cool. So they are suffering from disease, starvation, and they don't know how to build a colony. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just winging it. They don't have much to go off of. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just like, all right, cool. So we're here. I'm hungry and we have nothing to eat.
Yeah.
Which leads us into one theory that could have happened. Take it away.
Yeah, so obviously obviously them moving on and surviving and thriving is the best possible outcome, but that's the most boring outcome, right? So
It's the most boring. It's
funsies.
the most realistic. Yes, like they are like, yeah, I'm hungry. So like, you know, I think I heard them say something about Native Americans. Y'all want to go like explore a little bit and try to find that tribe? And somebody said, hell yeah, let's do it. I'm hungry myself. I could literally eat you, which is coming. But
yeah, I was gonna say
the next thing to do would be to link up with the people who know the land better than anybody possibly could, because it's their land. They were raised on it. They know it so well, and they know how to farm, and they know how to hunt, and they know how to do these things. They build these huts. They know how to survive, especially in these conditions, right? Like, they're at the ocean. Like I just said, John White, he literally had to go back because of hurricanes. This is all the odds against them being in, like, settling on the coast, right? So the most realistic thing is to find a way to survive, and that is to get people to help you that know how to live.
yeah.
Right?
Well, and human nature, usually survival's gonna kick in at some point. But let's say they didn't do that, meds, so they're hungry. What do they do next? Tell us.
If I was on a island with Burgundy and I was like, oof, I haven't really eaten anything in like 3 weeks, and I look over at Burgundy, and then I look, you know, like, no, and then I look back over at her, and then I see, you know, like, I wonder what she'd be tasting like. And then, you know, like, she looks over at me, and I'm like, no. And then all of a sudden she tries to attack me, and then I kill her, and then I'm like, ooh, looks like I have dinner for the next 4 weeks. What a way to say that, huh? Yeah,
But
they could have.
that is a theory.
They could have resorted to cannibalism.
Cannibalism. But that also begs the question. I'm just gonna put a wrench in some of these theories here now. Somebody had to be left over.
Yeah, somebody.
Yeah, someone had to survive that.
Somebody. Except, okay.
Obviously, they're eating people, but not everybody.
Well, let's go this route. Okay, I have heard that if you are a cannibal and you eat people, you eventually go insane and you'll die.
Makes sense.
I've heard that. So that, I mean...
But where's the body?
That's the biggest
and
thing.
Remains.
That is the biggest
and the
thing.
Bones.
Where's all that at? And they never found anything like that. I hope you guys...
They didn't even find graves.
They didn't find graves. They didn't find nothing. There was nothing.
Zip, zero, zilch. Nothing left behind.
So because of that...
Except some remnants of the fort.
Because of that, they were like, you know what? Aliens. They were abducted by aliens. High possibility, you know, if
Gone.
I mean, realistically, like, real talk, it's really not that outlandish. If you're like out there and like, as a fellow historian and as someone who's been interested in archaeology, there's no remains anywhere. So like, where would they go? Do they all just yeet themselves into the ocean? Eventually, it would come up. It would have came up by now.
No, that's a theory we didn't find anywhere. What if the island flooded and they all got washed out to sea?
But like, their remains still would have been somewhere out there. They would have.
Yeah, somebody should have washed ashore.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has ever like gone out there and like done the in-depth stuff, because there are people out there on our coast that are still finding like pieces of Blackbeard's ship and stuff. Like they're out there on the daily, essentially. And so that does beg the question, like, has anybody really thought about that? Like the government going out there and like sending them and being like, go see if you find any bones. Like, what if they got washed away?
Yeah.
But I just don't think
I
they
mean,
care enough at this point. I think they found their answer and they're satisfied with it.
right.
But what if, you know?
Yeah. So, okay, let's say it wasn't the aliens. Next topic, witchcraft.
It just gets crazier, like, as it goes, right?
So, I actually have, like, a little blurb
Mm-hmm.
here. Because, like, everything it was like, you know, you look up theories and it's like, aliens or witchcraft, and that's all it tells you. So I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta find more info on this somewhere, right? So I found this one. And it said this is historycollection.com if anybody cares to go look at it. Witchcraft, there are two theories involving witchcraft. The Croatoan either executed the colonists as witches, or the colonists were the victims of witches who live in North Carolina woods. The Croatoans believed in witches and witchcraft. Their definition of witches was people who use black magic to commit evil acts in everyday life. Let's see if this other part I read earlier is in this. If not, I'll just tell you about it. La, 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 la.
So they said that the Native Americans, like, executed them as witches.
Yeah, basically. There
They
was
didn't
another
know anything
story.
about that.
Because outside of the witch story, there's also more supernatural explanations, right? So, same website, literally right after the witchcraft part, by the way. But I'm just sifting through the information really fast. So basically, the colonists, they disappeared, and they disappeared without a trace, right? So some people believe Wendigos. So back to the cannibalism situation.
Mm-hmm.
Some people believe that if the people of Roanoke, I'm reading this straight from the website now. If the people of Roanoke resorted to cannibalism, then according to okay, so we have to back up a little. When people resort to eating human flesh, as in the case of cannibalism, their bodies are taken over by a Wendigo. If the people of Roanoke resorted to cannibalism, then according to this belief, they are still alive, roaming the woods of North Carolina in the form of Wendigos.
Oh my god, that's scary. They better stay the fuck away from me.
Here's the other one. The Croatoan belief system includes a spirit on the island that had the power to absorb humans into the landscape. If the spirit was offended or angered, it would turn people into trees, animals, stones, or any part of the land. If the colonists were exploiting resources or abusing the land, it could have angered the spirit. This means the people of Roanoke didn't disappear at all. They were just absorbed into the land.
Wow.
So of all the paranormal scenarios, I feel like that one makes the most sense.
It does. It does. I think if there, yeah, that one makes the most sense because like, and the only other thing too, that's, you know, like, I guess our own little theory here is, you know, like, what if the ocean got bad enough? Cause like, you know, you never know with the ocean. That should be crazy. It'd be doing stuff. It'd be sucking shit. It'd be doing stuff. It'd be getting it on, bro. Like it, like all it takes.
Oh wait, are we still talking about the ocean or?
Yeah.
Did we enter book talk all of a sudden? What's happening?
Sorry, I'm writing my own fan fiction about the Lost Colony of Roanoke. It's like rated R. It got a little bit intense, you know what I'm saying? But
she wet too.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so yeah, like literally, I mean, like the ocean, it's so unpredictable. Like, and they were right there at it. Anything could have happened. The tide could have came in. They could have been like, oh shit. Like, you just don't know, right? But I do stand by the theory that I believe that they just did what any logical person would do. There's got to be somebody with some sort of like logic in their brain, right? That's like, you know what? Let's just go find someone. Let's go find someone who may know what this is. And I would like to imagine that, you know, like within that time span that the Native Americans probably showed themselves, just even if it were by accident, and they were like, "Hey, oh my god, it's so great. Please don't kill me. I know you don't understand what I'm saying, but please don't kill me. We need help. We're hungry. We're starving. We're dying of." It could have even been of the cold. I mean, like, like people were definitely lost. It wasn't the entire 117, right? Like it was.
Well, I did too read that the guy that came from the Croatoan
Mhm.
tribe to come back, and like Raleigh met him and stuff. He actually was like considered an ally of theirs like throughout the whole thing. So
Which is great.
somebody, like you're saying, somebody had to have known at some point.
Yeah, which is great because, like they're not out there entirely alone. And so it is believed, like I've always heard that when who was it? It was like, oh yeah, somebody said, okay, here, okay, this is where it all comes in. This is where it all goes full circle moment. So the next English settlement that comes in is the Jamestown settlement. That's in 1607. Okay, and
Yep.
that's not far from Roanoke, and definitely not far from the Croatoans. And because of this, it is rumored that when the Jamestown settlement did go inward, like a couple hundred years later, even that I'm not even sure if it was like hundreds of years later or if it were like just like maybe 100 years after the colony went, that they started seeing Native Americans that had blue eyes.
Yeah. So it was roughly 100 years later. Nobody went back because, this is what I found out. Anyways, nobody went back because they believe Sir Walter Raleigh didn't want to send anybody back because if it came true that the whole colony had died, he would lose rights to that land. And so he wanted to keep rights to that land. So they didn't really send anybody back for like almost 100 years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So
And then yeah, Jamestown.
literally, like, could you imagine like hearing of this? I think now the Jamestown settlement, it wasn't just regular people. They went there for gold. It was all men. That was the whole settlement. Like, if you know anything about watching, I highly recommend you watch Pocahontas, not for the love story, but for part of at least the beginning. Literally, the opening song says in 1607, we sailed the open sea for glory, God, and gold, the Virginia Company. So it was the Virginia Company that went out there. And so it was a completely different settlement. But of course, they have like these haunting, like, thoughts in the back of their head where they're like, yo, like 117 people like completely disappeared like 20-ish years ago. What the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's wild.
Like,
Yeah.
that would freak me out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So obviously that settlement ended up being very successful. Shout out Pocahontas. Not really. She wasn't really that crazy of a character, but yeah. Yeehaw!
So, are we ready to wrap this up? Because I have an ending statement.
I want to listen.
I
want to hear it.
Say it until the very end. So, I don't know if you know this or not, but John White actually did instruct the colony to how did they word it? He basically told them to leave a note behind if they were to leave.
Oh yeah, I have heard that. Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did. So
yeah.
He suggested the colonists move. Yeah, White had left instructions for them to carve a message if they left.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did.
That's yeah. Yeah.
Croatoan.
I feel like it's very obvious like what happened, but it is fun to think about, and like I said, like
theorize
with John White, like he obviously, with everything considered, if he didn't know of the Native Americans or if he wasn't very aware of it, he unfortunately was turned back around because of a hurricane that
he couldn't
he
even
couldn't even
go
investigate.
investigate.
Like, all of that considered, of course it's going to be a huge mystery, because it's like anything could have happened, especially like
Yeah.
you don't have the resources that we have these days. Like, we're a Google search away from, like, knowing anything in the entire world. We have maps of things. Obviously they didn't have maps. They're in a whole new place. Like, that is so terrifying to me. It is so scary. And that's what makes this, like, the Lost Colony such a haunting scenario, and why history has been obsessed with it, because it truly is so scary to imagine a whole bunch of people just disappearing.
Well, also too though, so like he left to get more supplies for them. So he already knew their supplies were dwindling, but also his daughter and his brand new granddaughter left him behind. So then he has to go and just worry about their future, right? For 3 years.
Yeah.
And then comes back and they're all gone, and instead of going to look for them, he has no choice but to be forced back to England.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of, like, that's a heartbreaking story, man.
It's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. And unfortunately, like, I wish that we could have gotten the opportunity to discuss the Princes in the Tower situation, which I'm not going to get into all that. But, like, there are so many moments in, like, our history that are just so devastating, that involve family, that we can't even comprehend. Like, we think, like, a family member dying or in any capacity is devastating. It is. But imagine just, like, never knowing ever why you never saw them ever again. Like, that would be, like, so devastating, and blaming yourself for it, and being like, damn it, if I never left, if we would have just figured it out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's so, it really is
Sad.
sad. Very sad.
Yeah.
But I think that they turned out pretty damn well in the end.
They're okay.
Yeah.
Actually, we were talking about this prior to hopping on here, but just this year, guys, they found evidence that they were probably on Croatoan Islands. So.
And that there's DNA results pointing to that in certain people in North Carolina.
And they intermingled with the tribe.
Yeah, which is actually not uncommon here by any means. I think apparently it's not as frequent as believed prior to, like, a couple years ago, but there are a good chunk of people in this area, and, like, just in the Carolinas as a whole, that are more than likely a percentage of Native American in any capacity. I've always heard that we were us, so take that with a grain of salt, but it's definitely not impossible. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, so this was, like, a really long episode, so we hope you guys enjoyed it.
Just making up for being gone for 4
Hell
weeks.
yeah. Yeah, buddy.
On that note, if you like this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe wherever you're listening to Fear-Based Podcast. Thank you.
Hell yeah, and I'm also not high. I'm just sickly and very tired, apparently, all of a sudden.
You're high on Dayquil.
Yeah, like, let's get lit. But yeah, sorry that I felt like a little bit sporadic in this episode. I think Burgundy did excellent. And
I thought you were fine.
oh, thanks.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I really hope that you enjoyed this week's History's Mysteries and catching up with us. So yeah, bye babes.
Goodbye.
Boom bam turkey.